The raptor pen death, the kill you never actually see and the one nobody remembers. Before T-Rex even gets a paycheck, before the Jeep chase, a game warden gets dragged into a raptor enclosure during a routine transfer, and the camera cuts away before the kill lands. No blood, no close-up, just screaming and a closing gate. It's technically the first human death in the entire franchise, and most fans forget it happened at all. Here's why that's smarter writing than it looks. Showing nothing let Spielberg sell raptors as the real threat before audiences had even seen one clearly. Real Velociraptor packs never got the chance to test that reputation on a human, because the actual animal was nowhere near built for it. No name on screen, no last words, just a gate, a scream, and a movie that needed you scared before it had even shown you the monster clearly. But the next death goes the opposite direction completely. It shows everything in broad daylight, and somehow still gets the science just as wrong. Dennis Nedry versus Dilophosaurus. The most fictional dinosaur in the whole movie, and somehow also one of the most real-sized. Nedry crashes his Jeep in a storm, gets blinded by a frilled, venom-spitting lizard the size of a dog, and gets finished off screen. None of that frill or venom exists in the fossil record. Crichton invented both because early research suggested Dilophosaurus had weak jaws and couldn't have hunted on its own. Then, in 2020, paleontologist Adam Marsh re-examined new fossils, including a complete leg and skull material nobody had studied before, and found the opposite. Reinforced jaw bones built for serious muscle attachment. Air pockets running through the skull and crest for added strength, the same trick birds use today. This wasn't a frail spitter. It was nearly 7 meters long and around 3/4 of a ton, roughly half the size of an adult T-Rex, with a bite stronger than the movie ever gave it credit for. 20 feet of muscle and bone mistaken for a glorified house pet because one early guess about its jaw turned into 60 years of accepted fact. The real Dilophosaurus didn't need a party trick. It just needed its jaws. But size wasn't the myth that defined this franchise. Bite force was. And nothing proved that better than what happened in a bathroom. Donald Gennaro's death, the toilet scene, and the single most scientifically accurate kill in the whole movie. A lawyer hides in an outhouse, the T-Rex flips it over, and he's gone in seconds. Brutal, sudden, almost too easy. Except researchers Carl Bates and Peter Falkingham at the universities of Liverpool and Manchester laser scanned a full-size T-Rex skull and modeled its jaw muscles using comparisons to crocodiles and birds. Their published result in the journal Biology Letters, a bite force up to nearly 12,800 pounds, the strongest bite ever calculated for any land animal in history, living or extinct. That's the equivalent of a medium-sized elephant landing on you in a single crunch, roughly 10 times harder than a modern alligator's bite and far beyond anything earlier estimates had guessed. Which means the movie's version was actually the gentle cut. A real T-Rex bite could shatter bone on contact, no flipping required. But if its jaws were terrifyingly real, its speed in the very next scene was the opposite. That's where the science gets embarrassing for Hollywood. The T-Rex Jeep chase, the single most iconic shot in the franchise, and the one biomechanics keeps quietly demolishing. Cars, rain, a T-Rex thundering behind the Jeep at what looks like highway speed. For years, paleontologists estimated a top sprint somewhere around 25 miles per hour. Then biomechanist John Hutchinson's team ran full 3D muscle simulations in 2017 and found that a true sprinting gait would put unsustainable stress on T-Rex's own skeleton. In 2021, researchers at Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam went further, modeling T-Rex's tail like a suspension bridge to calculate its natural walking rhythm. Their number for preferred walking speed, about 2.86 miles per hour, slower than an average human stroll. So that legendary chase, mirror warning and all, in real life, you could have power walked away from it. But forget speed for a second, because there's a louder myth hiding in the same scene, and it's even more wrong. If you don't move, he can't see you. one of the most quoted lines in movie history and one of the most backwards. Researcher Kent Stevens at the University of Oregon scaled up the eye structure of T-Rex's closest living relatives, alligators, ostriches, and eagles, to model its actual vision. His findings: visual acuity possibly 13 times sharper than a human's, with a binocular range of 55 degrees, wider than most modern birds of prey. T-Rex likely didn't need motion to find you. It could probably spot you clearly from kilometers away, moving or frozen solid. The line survives because it's quotable, not because it's true. But while T-Rex's myths got busted by physics, the raptor's myths got busted by something stranger: their own teeth. Robert Muldoon's death. Clever girl, and the most debated kill in paleontology. Not just in the movie. Muldoon gets flanked and ambushed by raptors working together. Exactly the kind of coordinated pack hunting Crichton built his entire raptor mythology on. That idea traces back to 1960s fossil sites, where multiple Deinonychus skeletons turned up around prey too large for one animal to take down solo. But a 2020 isotope study from the University of Wisconsin and the University of Oklahoma tested carbon signatures in Deinonychus teeth of different sizes and found that juveniles and adults had distinctly different diets. In modern pack hunters like wolves, parents feed their young the same prey, so the isotopes match across ages. Here, they didn't. That points towards something closer to how Komodo dragons behave, mobbing a carcass opportunistically, not coordinating like a wolf pack. Muldoon's death might still be plausible. The teamwork behind it probably isn't. Which brings us to the actual size of the animal that supposedly outsmarted him. Ray Arnold's death. Off-screen, almost an afterthought, and the moment the franchise's entire raptor design falls apart. We never see Arnold die, just his severed arm landing on a control panel later. But here's the detail that matters more than the kill itself. Real Velociraptor was about 2 meters long, half a meter tall at the hip, and weighed somewhere around 15 kilograms. Paleontologist Steve Broussat has compared it to a turkey with a sickle claw. Not a 6-foot reptilian assassin. The movie raptors were actually modeled on Deinonychus, a larger North American cousin 3 to 4 times heavier. Crichton simply liked how Velociraptor sounded in print, which means the dinosaur that haunted a generation of moviegoers was, in real proportions, something you could have plausibly fought off with a fire extinguisher. So here's the final ranking, most accurate to most fictional. Gennaro's bite force death sits at number 1. Almost a documented certainty backed by skull scans and published peer review. T-Rex's vision myth and the Jeep chase speed rank just behind it. Busted by hard data, but at least built on the right animal moving at the wrong number. Muldoon's raptor teamwork drops further down. A real fossil debate with no clean answer either way. Nedry's Dilophosaurus sits one step above that, right size, wrong superpowers. And dead last, somehow, is the death that started the entire movie. The raptor pen kill, built entirely on an animal that, pound for pound, was smaller than the dog that might be sitting next to you right now. If you made it this far into the science, hit subscribe, drop a like, ring the bell, and tell me which Jurassic Park death you think science got the most wrong.